How's it going, everybody? It's Sean here, and I'm back today to give you a review of the Nike Air Pegasus 2K5 in this black and fire red colorway. In an attempt to capitalize on this 2000s era running shoe trend, Nike has brought back this shoe from their archives, the Nike Air Pegasus 2005. So these were released in 2005 as an actual performance running shoe. It was known to be a very reliable, well-rounded shoe, but fast forward nearly 20 years later, and they're now being marketed as a Nike sportswear sneaker. And even if you've been remotely following trends in sneaker culture these days, I'm sure you guys know how popular these 2000s era running shoes are now, because even for me, as of right now, comfort really is king. So this is a brand new colorway which dropped in February, and the official colorway for this shoe is black, fire red, and fierce pink. They retailed for a price of $150 US or $190 here in Canada. But these have been sitting on sites and they're now available for a heavy discount, which is why I decided to pull the trigger and cop a pair for myself. So jumping into the details of this shoe, on the toe box you can see the mesh here is multi-layered. So we have a fire red colored mesh, but it's overlaid with this black colored stitching. And we have this mini swoosh on the toe box, which is fire red in the center, and it's outlined with this pink colored embroidery. Overlaid on top of the toe box, we have this very dark gray, almost black colored synthetic suede. And then surrounding the front toe cap, we have this synthetic leather overlay which gives you additional durability, and we have these two cutouts revealing this pink layer which has a reflective gray colored 3M in the center. Covering the mid panels of the shoe, we have more of that synthetic black colored leather. And we have these arrow shaped cutouts revealing a red colored netting underneath. And then embroidered on top of this, we have this puffy red colored synthetic swoosh, once again with this pink colored stitching on the edges. Moving downwards, we have more of a combination of that synthetic suede and leather. On both sides of the shoe, we have this triangular cutout, revealing the same sort of mesh pattern that we saw on the toe box. We have a synthetic pink colored suede on the edges, and then on the heel of the sneaker, we have another synthetic leather overlay, and we have this Air Pegasus branding running down the heel. And then the top portion of the ankle collar area, this is covered in another type of mesh, also in a mix of red and black, and we have another mini swoosh here as well. As far as the laces go, so these come with these oval shaped black laces, which have these rubberized black lace tips. Underneath this, we have a padded tongue, which is covered in a mix of fire red and black colored mesh. On the very top, we have the synthetic leather overlay, and we have Air Peg 2K5 branding pressed on in this pink colored font. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is covered in a black colored mesh, and the collar area of the shoe is pretty decently padded. And then as far as the insoles go, so these come with a foam lined insole, nothing too special here. It's finished in this black mesh on top, and we have a pink swoosh pressed onto the heel. So the upper of the Air Pegasus 2005, it sits atop the chunky foam midsole, and I couldn't find what type of foam this exactly is. I tried researching back to articles from 2005, and I couldn't really find too much about this silhouette. In either case though, this midsole is painted in primarily black. We have this red colored detailing around the middle, and it's painted in pink on the lateral side of the heel. Encased within the shoe though, we have a full-length Nike Air unit, and then turning the shoe over to the bottom, so the outsole here is constructed primarily out of a black colored rubber. Paying homage to retro Nike running shoes, we have a modified waffle style traction pattern, which are these pink colored nubs. And then on the heel, we have a window exposing the Nike Air unit that sits contained within this foam carrier. And then on the medial side of the middle, we have this pink colored TPU shank plate, which helps with torsional rigidity and mid-foot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, generally speaking, they do run pretty true to size. So whatever size you actually measure as, I'd go with that same size for this pair. And even if you have a wider foot, I feel like the toe box on these shoes have a decent amount of width. I didn't feel any pressure points whatsoever, so I don't think there's a need to go up half a size for this shoe. Moving on to the comfort, so these I have to say are a pretty comfortable sneaker. It's not the most comfortable sneaker that Nike offers. I still prefer models like the Zoom Vomero 5 for example, but the overall cushioning on the shoe was pretty solid. Straight out of the box, you can feel a decent amount of compression with this foam, especially underneath the heel. The forefoot feels a little bit more stiff, but overall the shoe is pretty comfortable. It's definitely a model I feel like you can wear for hours and hours on end, and especially if you're in the market for a shoe that's relatively more affordable, I think you can get a lot of comfort despite not paying a premium for the sneaker. Finally, in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, so first off, the material quality was pretty poor. Everything on this shoe is just synthetic materials. We have a bunch of synthetic suede, synthetic leathers, and then it's rounded up by a bunch of meshes and nylons. But that's kind of expected given this was originally released as a 2005 era running shoe, so I'm not expecting super premium materials on this shoe unless Nike specifically offers a colorway as a more premium version. And in terms of the build, this was also a little bit disappointing. So there were a lot of glue stains around the midsole area, the paint job also seemed a little bit sloppy, and my biggest issue was on the toe box. These dark gray or almost black colored suede overlays, they didn't sit flat on the toe box. So I don't know if you can see this, but it kind of ripples, specifically in areas like this. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. And yes, it's not as evident when I put my foot in here, but when my foot is not in the shoe, it's very apparent, and it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. So maybe I just got unlucky, and fingers crossed, if you guys pick these up, hopefully your pair didn't have as many flaws as mine. So with all that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet. I'll lace them up for you, and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, this is a very solid option if you're looking for an affordable, comfortable Nike sneaker. It's not as comfortable and not as lightweight as something like the Zoom Vomero 5, but I think it still holds its own. And from what it looks like, it seems like Nike is really going to be pushing this shoe hard. There's been a few colorways that have released, and I'm sure there's a ton coming down the pipeline. So if you haven't tried a pair for yourself yet, ideally you can go to a store, check it out in person to make sure that the quality control is alright on your pair, and try the comfort for yourself as well too. So leave your thoughts down below. What do you guys think about this Nike Air Pegasus 2K5, and what are your thoughts on this colorway specifically? Black and pink, this is not a very safe colorway. It's not going to be for everyone. To me, it kind of gave off Comme des Garçons Nike Air 180 vibes without having to pay the super premium price that they're currently going for. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, check me out on X at sean.go spelled out, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch all of you in my next video.